did you get the training to be able to sing? Because if I had to audition, I couldn't hold a note. So, but you could.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Actually, I guess it was just natural. It was a natural gift that was already there. I think up until when I started to do music as a career, as a professionally, I hadn't had any singing lessons. Okay. So it was all just natural talent at the time. So yeah.
I mean, and that's and that's important to know, because I guess because it's what you're trying to say then is that there's some of us that are just born with certain gifts that even if you don't put in the effort, then later on when you decide to follow that dream, you do the training and take it seriously. But because I'm thinking, if I was called to audition back then, I wouldn't hold a note. I wouldn't even know what a note is. But yet you could audition and go through. But you said you didn't take it seriously. At your church, where you first started to join the choir, was it the same sort of sit in a corner and no one could see you, or were you more in front of a bigger audience who could see you?
It was totally different. It was the opposite. You had to stand in front of the congregation and you had to lead people. And my church has 3,000 members. And that was quite daunting. I was that worship leader who my microphone used to literally shake and vibrate, because I would stand there and I would be so nervous. Just the fact that all these people were looking at me, and there were questions in my head of, oh my God, would they think I sound bad? Would they think I sound good? Would I forget my lyrics? And I used to close my eyes for most of the worship session. I would be leading and I would close my eyes because I was just really scared. It was quite daunting to just stand in front of all those people and sing. So it was definitely it was a lot different. It was the opposite of what I was used to.
But then why that then? And I guess just beginning. So if you and this is just really interesting seeing that transition. So you were in a sort of a choir where you're in the corner. Now you're in a church where the choir sort of takes the focal point, and you're more exposed. When you decide to audition to join, was it out of, okay, I need to do something, maybe my voice is good enough, but you didn't even think? It's almost like going on a roller coaster without thinking, goodness, this is going to be scary. What was it for you? Did you know that the challenge, but still said, I want to overcome it?
Yeah, so I think, because I said at the time, obviously my relationship with God had grown. Okay. So I think for me, I was at that place where I wanted to serve. I had realized that, well, I have a voice, I can sing. And I thought, okay, I could use this to serve. It started off as that. I just want to serve. Okay. And I thought to myself, okay, I've been in the choir, I can sing, I can offer my service in that area. Mm-hmm. And so I then went, and you did have to audition as well at the time. I mean, I've been with that choir now for 20 years, the same choir. At the time you had to audition, but it wasn't anything. You auditioned and then you got trained. Okay. So, but they were just looking for the fact that the ability was there. Okay. That your ears were good, you could hear the movements in music, you could hold your melody, and then training came after that. And so that was the process through which I got into that choir, and that was the reason why I did that. I just wanted to serve, and I guess in a sense show appreciation as well to God for giving me the gift. And I thought, okay, you've given me this gift, I'll use it to serve you, and then just do that. Yeah.
And you notice, so this is when when did you then recognize that you did actually have a gift to sing? Because as I said, you mentioned that you joined the choir back in Nigeria, but you weren't taking it seriously. But then did you realize, I actually can really sing? Yeah. When did that drop?
So I think, so that happened. So after that experience, I said, when
the pastor,
my pastor asked me to lead, he heard my answer, asked me to, all this while, I was just a regular backing vocal in a choir. I don't know that the church in itself knew what I sounded like, because I was always a backing vocal. So that was the first time that my voice was being heard distinctively, you know, out of everybody else's voice. And so after that experience, there were loads of times my pastor would say to me, do you realize that you are anointed and you are gifted?
Wow.
And I used to just think, like, what is he talking about? And he would say to me, no, seriously, do you understand what I'm saying to you? You are anointed and you are gifted. And he says, do you see what happens in the room when you worship? And I was like, no.
But then if he's finding this out, what about, because I would assume that you had a choir leader who would pick the songs and rehearse, and did they not?
Yes. Yes, but you have to remember that my church is a big church. Right now, as I speak, we're 70 members in the worship team.
Okay.
So you audition, you come in, there's a process of selecting worship leaders, and of course you have to go through that process. Now, this is me having jumped the process, because the pastor just heard my voice and just thought, you know what, where is that sound coming from? And he actually said, you know, he felt God say to him, get her to lead worship.
Since then, how long had you been part of the worship team by the time this happened?
Oh, so this is now about a year and a half or 2 years.
Okay.
And you have to, because if you remember, I said I was very timid, I was very shy, so I never came out to audition for solo songs. There were loads of opportunities to audition to do solos, and I guess this would have been opportunities where people could hear what you sounded like. But I never came out for any of those, because I was really shy. I had stage fright. So I never came out for any of those. So they had never really had me in isolation, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I think when my pastor said that to me a few times, I think one day I went to God in my time of prayer. I was like, you know what? This man of God keeps saying this thing. I don't even know what this is. I don't know what he means. And then I said to God, boy, if you can tell me and explain it to me, it'll help me know what to do. And so I made a decision and a commitment, and I said to God, I will fast 1 week every month until I hear you speak clearly and break this thing down for me. I will separate myself for 1 week every month. And if I say to you that it was in the 11th month.
Wow.
So for 11 months, I fasted for a week every month. In the 11th month, I remember sitting in my living room at home. I'm sorry, it's just funny because I actually feel a bit emotional just thinking about the journey and just how much God is in the detail. And when you really want to do right by him, he helps you get it right, if that makes sense. So I was sitting at home on this day. I wasn't even praying. It wasn't anything spiritual or dramatic. And I just heard God say to me, your call is to bring reconciliation between me and my people through worship. And in that one sentence, and this is how many years after, I can say it by heart. I'm not confused about what I was called to do. And he said to me, your call is to bring reconciliation between my people and I through worship. And I thought to myself, what does that even mean? But that was the start of a journey for me, because being able to hear God's opinion and his voice on the matter triggered something in me to say, oh my God, I want to find out what this is. I want to become this thing. I want to become that person. This thing about reconciliation. What does it mean? What does that mean to be reconciled to him?
Yeah.
And then I started a journey on studying on worship.
Okay. I think one of the things that is fascinating is that you have had, you know, most people say you've got the opportunity to take the front seat and become a lead singer, star at a very early stage. But you weren't looking for it from the beginning. When it was handed to you, you still said, no, I'll wait a year before I'll take that decision, which is somewhat remarkable because, as I said, it then gives a sense that you've taken your music quite differently and quite seriously and passionate, as opposed to trying to be a star and be in front of everyone, impress everyone.
Yeah.